Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We're with our friend, our legend, our pro tennis player, architect, man of the hour, John Riggio. Really, our professional of the year, has been with us for quite a few years and always ceases to amaze me. John, how are you doing? Fill us in. What's new in your world? And I cannot wait to get down to business.
Great. How are you?
I'm great.
Yes. So today, I usually talk about my architect profession, but years ago I was also a pro tennis player, and I have so many stories. My architect profession always was to go correctly with my uh, tennis playing, and it always has. And last year, in the year 2025, I wrote a book, and the book is right here. This is here, the life story of tennis legend John Riggio. And also last year, just by chance, this book has really propelled me forward, and I was been doing really good. So I was then put into a book called The Top 100 Innovators and Entrepreneurs of 2025. So right here on page 42.
Yay.
Let me just show you that. And so this book, it isn't easy to get into. You really have to have an explanation of all your things, and but I think the book really helped push that whole thing through and really explained all the stories. So the book is a very clean book. It's very simple. It's good to read, and it it uh, it keeps all the different personal things very simple. It's good for anyone to read. A young teen can read it, even a preteen can read it. There's a lot of stories of when I'm young, growing up, making a tennis club, things like that, all different stories. Could really learn a lot from it.
Mm-hmm.
And the last few podcasts, I've been talking about some entertainment friends and different adventures that were taking place. A lot of those stories I didn't put in the book, and it's because they're getting too in depth. But it's like anything like you would see like an after school special. I think a lot of these stories is almost like a soap opera. And you could always learn from. The idea is really to listen to my stories, apply them to yourself, and really learn from them, improve them. Um, so from the last week, I was thinking about the past. Of course, there are more and more stories, an unbelievable amount of stories. The whole thing with the entertainment world is really very amazing. And I think some things, I have a lot of different things to talk about. One of them is just to correct last week, I had talked about my girlfriend Delilah.
Yeah.
In fact, I was 28 years old and she was 28 years old when she passed away. It wasn't 26, it was 28 years old. I just did a quick calculation on that. I just had to remember the years. And also, uh, I saw that there was a little gap in the video, but in fact, after all the years with my friend Liz that I had talked about so many times, her mother did finally agree with getting married to Liz. It was years later, and we did a little ceremony, and that was pretty good. The sad thing is, between that ceremony and the Las Vegas wedding that I had talked about was a number of years in between. And sadly, one day she just had told me that her mother seems to have passed away. She seemed to have died maybe of a drug overdose, they thought. And it was strangely enough on the same day that this other thing where she had to use this name Doll, the brother, um, he died on the same day of the same cause of drug overdose.
Ah,
That's
ah.
really so some stories are getting a little tragic. They they aren't that funny. And just some very interesting stories also. As far as tennis business and entertainment, I had talked so many times about this story with Yale, and it gets worse and worse with the stories of Yale. One interesting thing about talking to Yale to override the vote and get into the college because I had one vote to stay at NYIT, and to do it, I really need another friend who was really T Ling. But just by chance, T Ling had two persons. One was Terry, who officially owned a contract, and another one was Liz, who had an illegal contract somehow produced through Dahl. And just by chance, I was told by the admissions department there that when they came up to the cottage there to show that Liz was legally using the name T Ling, she was saying that they could get charged with a crime just for showing a false document. The document had to be filed with the government, the entertainment parts of the government. I think a lot of people aren't aware of those different things. There's even different majors in college to take for things about entertainment and things like that. And that document was never legally filed, so it was considered a fraudulent document, and he could have gotten charged with a crime. They went very easy on them. The sad thing and the downer of that whole thing is I am not the cause of anything that happened with the false contract, that person going over to Yale, talking to the admissions, but it caused a serious problem. I think it made them a little angry because they had to call security, had to arrest them, and things like that. And then what happened is I was talking to Terry. So I already knew Terry from the Sutton East, and this is just a short time later. I really didn't have good communications with her, and my relationship with her had just was put on hold. But just by chance, this issue with the legal name Tia Ling came about, where I did get to talk to her again. And this thing with going to Yale was so thrilling that she liked it too. And I started to formulate this idea of going to Yale with Terry and Liz. And since they're both using the name, although Terry is the lead and the legal name, I just thought that this was a good idea. And there's some reasons for it too. Terry, who really had a desire to get into entertainment and really came to New York on her own, she, in fact, thought that moving up into entertainment, which I think going to Yale would help, was a good idea. She liked this idea. I sold the idea on her, and it was a truthful idea. It wasn't a down idea. It wasn't a trick. So she called eventually on her own to the admissions. Unfortunately, admissions had enough of this story. They, since Dahl went there, got arrested and had all the problems, and this whole went under that somehow that problem was had anything to do with me, caused me a big problem, and it stopped Terry from getting this whole thing with me going with her, which would have worked pretty good because she was near some of those bad people, and this would have got her away from there too. And the idea of Liz staying with me too wasn't wrong. We were still young. There's no definite marriage necessary going on. And so that is what was happening there. But unfortunately, the admissions department didn't want to entertain Terry. But I think in some ways it was good that she had did call. Um, it sort of made it legitimate my story that I really know both of them and I know her, and she did have a sincere idea of doing it, but I think they sort of set a limit on that idea with the entertainers with me. I think to try to do anything with the cottage there, I'd have to then introduce myself differently, maybe through another advisor or something like that. But so the Terry calling was good. It did help, but they didn't want to entertain the idea anymore. I think the whole thing that happened with them having to call security on that other kid caused them such a problem. They did not want anything else happening, so that had to get just put on hold, and that's was it. So that was one interesting thing. And one interesting thing I learned from the admissions department, they were teaching me some things I really didn't know, is that in the adult entertainment, they have a height limitation. They have a minimum of 5'2". So Liz, who's just 5'1", she's really 1 inch under the minimum. Also, since she had her problem with her kidnap story when she was a younger girl that I freed her from her kidnapping. They said that that type of entertainment was not really allowed for her to have an official contract. She would have to have an entertainment contract in something else, maybe vocalist, singer, or something like that, played instrument. But in entertainment, she told me that that was not allowed either. So I was learning very interesting things from the other missions, and it's sort of same kind of interesting story, complicated story, and that was another like little adventure that really took place. But there was even more things that had happened. So at that time in our relationship and that whole adventure taking place, she ended up returning back to Cleveland. And she, by her returning back to Cleveland and me helping her, worked out very good for her again. She ended up going to college. She didn't do anything in New York City anymore. She wasn't with the adult group at the present time. She was there studying interior design. And I kept in contact with her. We were still boyfriend, girlfriend. And I stayed in contact with her all through college, like 4 years of college. At the end of her college, she invited me to her senior dance. And of course, I said yes. I accepted to go there. And then after that, she graduated. Then she called me and she said she's got to come back to New York City. She's going to stay at the one of those like a hostel or group home they have available. And she gives me the address, the time, the date. Okay, anybody who makes an appointment with someone, the relative, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't make a difference. You figure that your appointment's going to go through, you're not going to have any problems. So I go to the group home. I ring the doorbell, and she's there. The only thing is she is not audible. She's not talking. So I explain the whole situation to her. She has nothing to say. She does not talk. I come back the next day, same thing happens. The second day, what I did is I talked to the person that is really like the director of this like group home or hostel type situation, and I tell her that Liz must have some kind of health problem that developed. She's not talking at all. She does not recognize me. She invited me to come here and talk to her, and so I told her you have to call like a doctor. So the lady said, "Okay, I'll call the doctor." She gets on the phone, the landline phone. She calls the doctor. They end up sending her to the hospital. I ended up calling back there the next day, find out what happened to her. I didn't go with the ambulance or anything with her. And she tells me she's in one of the hospitals locally. She's not exactly what sure what number. Immediately I start calling around. I locate her location in the hospital. And they tell me that they're transferring her from the hospital to another department. I forget what they called it. It was like an infirmary or something. And I said, okay, so I can get her out of the where she is. And they liked that idea. There wasn't any problem. I think I had to pay a fee or something. I forget what it was. They took my name, number, all my information down. But in the meantime, what happened is after Liz returned back to Cleveland right after that, after she got out of the hospital, she calls me and she tells me the rest of the story. What happens is she was in the hospital. It turns out she was overdosed on drugs, got raped, and that's why she was not able to talk at all. And of course, at this time in our relationship, she started to cry horribly, started to speak up. She sort of was damning what had happened. She says the hospital gave her an ultimatum of time that if she doesn't leave the hospital, she has to go to this other department. Now, the other department, as far as my point of view, did not make any difference. I think she was just a little worried about going there that she would have a problem. But I was told I can get her out of there without any problem and already signed up to do it. But in the meantime, she ended up having to call this adult entertainment people because she graduated from college and she was going to slide in and she was going to do so great. And one day her whole life got screwed up again. So she is back in Cleveland, and she also says this crazy story. She damns having to call them for help. And she was also very upset that I couldn't get there before they did. And so she was very upset about this. This is an interesting part of relationship. And what happened is she was saying the reason she damned it also is because they sent someone named Herb, and she hates him. She does not like this kid at all. And she had a promise to have a cult child because they sent him to get her out of the hospital. So they're really playing her for a really fool, and this is coming out really bad. And this is so unbelievable. And meanwhile, in the meantime, I already paid and gave my information to get her out without any problems, no guarantees of anything. And so this was another sad thing. Now, this name, Herb, coming up, I had to remember so many things about the past. And he's another kid that my neighborhood friend brought to play some field football. And he's like the other guy. I had a thing. He's another one that I think we're playing field football, and I think he grabbed at a couple kids' pants. I remember he on one play, and I had another fist fight with him and did the same thing, knocked him out. And I think he's another one. I think the saddest story about this kid Herb is I had talked to someone who knows Liz, and they have them paired in recent years together as if they're getting married. And this is the thing she damned. After she graduated from college, she was crying horribly and damn ever calling them. I was really sick. So it's amazing adventures she put me on. And this is very interesting at the exact time when my contract was sold to Mitsubishi. And there was a wait time of a number
Oh
of
my
months.
gosh. Mm-hmm.
So I had to
Mm-hmm.
wait for that contract and the money to get
Wow.
transferred over, the $100 million, and for me to start playing tennis again. And so what happened is just a few weeks later, I'm given a call by my lawyer to start playing tennis at Old Westbury. And I'm there, Old Westbury. In fact, the contract was really sold to Ross Perot, then to Mitsubishi. So it's Ross Perot, and
Oh
then I'm
my
heading
gosh,
over to
Ross Perot.
the
These
field. So
dates.
now I'm at those courts in Old
Yeah.
Westbury, and I'm playing. And Delilah, who always encouraged me to always have all kinds of different
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends.
Yeah.
She, in fact, somehow knew that story about what happened to Liz. And but Delilah is there on the scene at my courts,
Yeah.
and I'm there seeing Delilah every day during the whole thing in Old Westbury. And I even did a wedding picture with her during that time, during that set of sport playing
Yeah.
between Ross Perot and playing the Japan Pacific team.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting. But I think that was really interesting. I think just not to go off track, the story with Liz, um, very interesting, has always brought me these amazing adventures and sad things, and
Oh wow.
it's really interesting. Um, I don't want to talk too much about the light on that story, as muddies the story. But what had happened with her is, so when Liz in fact had that problem and she went back home, not only was she upset about the basic facts about leaving the hospital and things like that and wanting me to go to pick her up, is that she felt so distraught that she was really becoming like suicidal. And it was pretty sad. She ended up having to go to like a psychologist after that. She realized something got screwed up, or her ideas or plans of what she wanted to do didn't work out very good. And also, she was very emotional for a while. It took her a while for her to recover from this. And eventually, I did get to see her a number of months later, and she did slowly recover from her problems. I think a lot of these are very traumatic experiences, and like anyone would just try to shut the memories off. I wasn't thinking about all these stories from years ago, but they were very serious, and for her, this was another very traumatic experience, and I think she had to just forget about it for a while. I sort of forgot about it for a while, and she did recover, and our relationship did continue on later on. Um, so I think this whole thing with her, things happening to her and to things happening to me are very similar to that movie Animal House. There's a National Lampoon's Animal House. They always show this
Remember that
thing
one?
of, and it's
Yep.
always seems to happen like that. It isn't funny, and
No, but that's
it is
wow.
pretty sad. So I think what also happened is,
Ah,
sadly enough, I had said some sad things that happened with her mother passing on, and I was also told that my neighborhood friend uh, also had a problem.
oh,
But I think the one thing about my neighborhood friend that there's a preamble to this story. Okay, so all these stories with Liz, entertainment, everything, and then
yeah,
even my neighborhood friend doing things with their entertainment adult group. The reason why he was forced to do this is the reason.
yeah.
Um, Before he had to do that kind of thing, myself and my friend and another friend were doing usual things at a young age, like 14, 15 years old, going to the local park,
Yeah,
riding bicycles together, not doing anything wrong. And we're bicycling in this park,
yeah,
heading over near like this little league baseball. When I was young, I used to play some little league baseball. It's ordinary afternoon, nothing
yeah.
strange is going on, not doing anything wrong. What happens is the lady from the little league baseball is screaming. She's screaming for help. She's pointing over and she tells us, "Help us, help us." Someone grabbed one of the boys and is dragging him into his car
Oh my
to
gosh.
kidnap him in front of everyone for this whole baseball little league event. So I think anyone goes to baseball league, there's like maybe, let's see, 20, maybe like 50, 60 people there at one time.
Yeah.
So myself and my two friends, we did bicycle over and we were able to free the kid. So he
Ah,
was free, they all clapped and they were really happy. And that lady was ecstatic that I was able to free her son from getting kidnapped.
wow.
So the sad thing that no one knows about at that time is maybe 2 weeks later, one of my friends there, he was kidnapped where we live. And his story somehow was he, in fact, had to agree to help them out at this Lawrence video. And that's why I think doing things around that particular group of people was a little crazy and dangerous. It wasn't really too good. Unfortunately, I was told, Liz had told me that somehow over the years, and we're much older now, she's like almost 40 years old, that somehow in the previous years, he was somehow raped, killed, and then they took him, did horrible things, and dumped him someplace in one of the rivers. So it's a pretty sad story. Uh, and I think the reason they did this is claiming that he um, betrayed them a second time. So that's why that happened. I mean, the stories are getting a little extreme, crazy, dangerous. That's why these people are dangerous, and it isn't too funny. It's a pretty sad story. Um, so there is all kinds of crazy things. I think I was even told some interesting things you could learn about, say, like business and entertainment. They have the whole thing with people downloading adult pictures and things like that, and they have a lot of controversy over the number of years. But I was told the most crazy thing. Then when people they were downloading pictures, it isn't a third party that was really trying to bother them. It was really those people that for group. They would research the name of who is downloading the videos, and they would really go after them, trying to extort money from them. And with this type of people, there's even danger of getting kidnapped. I mean, this is really unbelievable. So that whole thing with the downloading adult content from those particular people could get your whole life into some kind of problem. So that is really an inside story that is going on. I have nothing to do with those people. I never did anything with them. And I was always just a sport player. Just met them through another line of entertainment. I think the other line of entertainment with sport players is 10 times better for them, all legal, no strange things going on. And it's really was unbelievable what was happening. Um, but I think with all these crazy things, just to add on, yet Sutton East, I knew all kinds of entertainers. There were plenty of male entertainers that used to stop by, talk. A lot of them were interested in sports. And one entertainer, I think everyone has heard about, the musical singer Alice Cooper.
Of course, the guy that did
Alice
the hurricane.
Cooper was someone who used to really like to watch my tennis matches.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows about this. I think I've been talking about these stories now for 7 years
Wow.
now. I haven't said his name yet, but he is one entertainer that I used to talk to frequently. He used to stop over, used to watch my matches, saw me win the matches, and I used to talk to him personally right there. He was the son of a pastor,
Wow.
and I think he has amazing, intelligence about himself. And he told me all kinds of interesting things. He's really impressed with my tennis playing too. He could tell my desire to win the matches, and he really likes that. He was really is thrilled with it, and he's also was able to learn from that himself too. He was really impressed with it. And he used to come down there often, used to sit there, right in front of the window, right at Suddenly's. They have those glass panels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he used to look right through and he used to see me playing the match and saw me winning. And he was really impressed with that. He used to come there often. He was really amazing.
Wow.
So I think that was one thing that was happening there. I have his biography. Let me just upload
Sure,
it
sure,
real
sure,
quick.
sure.
I think I was showing some others.
Yeah, yeah, good. We still got more time. We got 2 more minutes, darling. Go for it.
Okay, so this here is the bio of Alice Cooper. I see he has another
Holy
name. This
cow.
is not your name.
Yeah.
And I think he did just by chance. When I was young, I was playing over here with my daughter. They had this thing going to like the water parks, when you're young. And there was this nice young girl in front of us on the line to go on the water slide. And she turns and looks at me and she says, "Hi, my name is Alice Cooper." It's really amazing. I thought maybe it was a trick to see if I would have a problem or something, but
Yeah.
that was amazing. She did have that name. So this is his biography, and this is really good.
Wow.
He was here. Let's see what years it was. So this was in the year. Okay, so it says here, see,
Mm-hmm.
1987. So I knew him about approximately 1988, 89, around those years. 1990, he was around there, the tennis courts. And this is, let's see, I see some dates here. It has the 1980s. Let's see, 1960s. Let's see what he was doing in 1980s.
Oh my gosh.
79, 80s. Okay. Yeah, we're over here,
Wow.
83, 84, 84, 86. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
87. Okay, here we are. Yeah. So around here, 1987, 1987, and coming here, 1988.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this is those years here. Let's see, he signed 1989. Yeah. So he has a lot of things here around 1988, 1989. That's the years I knew him. And
Amazing.
that's some of his pictures. Let's see this here.
So cool.
Yeah, this is just an ordinary picture of him. I sort of know
Yeah.
him like this, just ordinary entertainer. Was able to talk to him really about just like basic things playing tennis, and he really was interested in my playing
We
and
got to
was
we got to
really
do a
impressed with it.
show and get all the people you've encountered your whole life and have like a whole reunion of everybody. Sorry, I know Leona Helmsley's passed, and so, Manny, we get Lady Gaga here. We'll get everyone. The Clintons. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, John Riggio. Always a pleasure. How can we reach out to you directly?
Yeah, you can go to my webpage, www.johnriggio.com. I have my contact information there. Or you can go to some of my other social media, go to my Facebook page, John Riggio Pro Tennis Player, and I have my information there too.
All right. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Always a great part of us, and always a pleasure. Bye, darling.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.